How's it going, everybody? My name's Rodney Overton. I'm a outside sales rep here at Concrete Polishing Solutions. I cover the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic regions. I've been in the polishing industry for about 7 years.
And my name is Dewayne. I'm also a sales rep at CPS. I cover the Central West, Central East, and Northeast regions, and I've been in the industry for roughly 6 years. Rodney, for people who are getting into this industry, how would you describe the general steps of polishing concrete?
So depending, the steps will vary depending on the outcome that the customer is looking for on the floor. But let's say a general polishing process, high polish, you would start usually with a metal bond diamond tool, which is the grinding phase. So you're removing material here, you're exposing the aggregate level that you're looking to achieve, whether it be fine aggregate, medium aggregate, large aggregate. From there, you'll move into a transitional phase. The transitional phase is a honing process. So the floor is going to start, smoothing the floor out at that point. And from your honing process or the transitionals, you'll move into the polishing process. And that is the point where you're going to start seeing a shine. There is chemicals involved, densifiers, which enhance the density of the floor, harden the floor, and make it a more durable surface. After your densifier, you're moving through the polishing steps, and you can go all the way up to a 3000 grit, which is extremely high level of polish. So tons of different processes that you can actually use. You can come up with tons of different finishes, from large aggregate, small aggregate, cream polish. You can do matte finish. You can do lower gloss, high gloss. There is literally dozens of different processes that you can use.
What would be? We'll say what are the advantages to polish concrete? Like, what are the perks of having polished concrete?
So I would say the major benefit is the longevity of the floor, as well as the low maintenance that's involved with it. There's not a lot of maintenance involved. Polished concrete is kind of taking the place in retail locations and stuff, commercial locations. It's taking the place of VCT tile. And with the VCT tile, there was extreme high maintenance costs and stuff involved with that to keep it up, looking good. You would have to go in every so often, strip all the waxes off, reapply, buff the floor out to a shine. And then, over time, the tile breaks down, it starts coming up in pieces and stuff like that. So the durability of it is, and the low maintenance is really what draws most people into it.
Gotcha. So, and if I'm not mistaken, it also helps lower utility, like a power bill.
Absolutely. So on a high gloss polished concrete floor, we have seen in the past people that were able to turn off half of their lights because of the reflectivity of the light. So that's an absolute benefit to it.
It's very interesting. Being in the industry and actually doing the work, and it's a good trade to be in.
So speaking of maintaining polished concrete, could you break down a general process of how you would maintain the concrete in order to achieve the maximum longevity?
There is some do's and don'ts. You see it a lot in this industry. People who are selling a product, and they don't. The one thing that a lot of people fail to make their customer aware of is the actual maintenance on the floor. So then you have customers out here who are, they're cleaning the floor with harsh chemicals, which really just will dull it out really quick. They do make specific chemicals to use for cleaning polished concrete. CPS, we actually sell those here too. We have a degreaser it's more aggressive. So you would use it like maybe every 3 to 6 months, depending on how much foot traffic you have coming in and out. And then we have our PC soap, which is a very mild detergent that you would use just to kind of clean it, we'll say once a week or something like that. And then of course you have, you can reseal the floor, reburnish the floor. Upkeep is everything on a polished concrete floor. If you leave it untouched for long periods, it just gets to where it just,
Yeah, so the issue is you get a lot of, with a lot of chemicals and stuff, and you see this in grocery stores, you have a lot of spills, cleaning chemicals, or people spilling acidic top foods and stuff, which will actually etch it and takes away the shine. Main thing with the cleaners is you want to use a pH neutral cleaner. if you use anything that isn't pH neutral, it can etch the floor.
Yeah.
So the biggest problem that I've seen is, like you said, the customers, it's not communicated with the customers in these stores and homes and stuff, and people are just using whatever's in the janitor's closet or whatever's under their kitchen sink, putting in an auto scrubber and trying to clean the floor with it, and it will actually wear away.
Yeah, and another thing is too is, especially, I mean, if you're a contractor and you're selling a product, if you're not selling a maintenance program or something like that, you're literally leaving money on the table.
Absolutely.
Or you just have to make them aware. If you're not going to sell a maintenance program, you at least need to show them, give them the information they need to keep up their floor.
Yeah, and as a contractor, that's another income source, is if you sell a maintenance program, and we know people that go in and kind of just rejuvenate concrete floors that's been polished before, and that's one of the ways to achieve the longevity. The main thing with achieving the longevity is the maintenance, and in my opinion, it is probably the longest lasting floor solution that you can have with the proper maintenance. Just like anything, it's going to take proper amounts of maintenance, but it is a very low maintenance solution compared to some of the other things that you
absolutely
offer.
I've done tile in the past, and I, as far as stripping and re-waxing it, and I've done all that stuff, and it's miserable work. So I really prefer the polished concrete over that.
Absolutely. So Dewayne, your specialty whenever you were polishing concrete was doing renovation style work, so existing concrete. So if somebody had questions about polishing existing concrete, such as an old slab, maybe they have an old garage and it's got stains, or they have a tile or carpet that they would like to remove and polish underneath, what would you say to somebody that was interested in that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it can be a little bit more expensive because depending on the extent of the repair work and things like that. Of course, you have the demo aspect, so it is a little bit more expensive, but it can be done. I did a lot of floors, 50, 60-year-old floors that you can bring back to life, and it's very, I guess, it was always just like a sense of accomplishment when you go into a floor and you take up the tile and you look under it, and when you first see it, it's kind of almost shocking. You're like, I just don't know if we're going to be able to make this look like something, but you can. There's tons of different repair materials out there that you can use. It's just a matter of going in, doing the removal, whether it be carpet, tile, doing your glue removal, which you would use a metal bond for. Then you would step off into doing your repair work, or you would get something like our spa repair that we have at CPS. To repair all the spas and like the pop outs and stuff like that. But yeah, you absolutely can. It's just it's a little there's a little more to it, I guess, than what there would be walking in on a new floor. But the main thing with that is just you have to be mindful of the cost. It's so much more expensive. I mean, I won't say it's so much more expensive, but it can be, depending on the shape of the floor. You've got your chemical cost, and you have to make sure that you include that into the job, that you bid that into the job, because as a new contractor going in, or just anybody really, it doesn't even have to be a new contractor, it just be anybody going to do a floor renovation. I mean, the cost, you have to make sure you bid every bit of that into the cost of the job, or you'll eat a lot of money.
Yeah, and I would also add to that for contractors to be prepared to add a change order, because anytime you're doing removal, if you've got a tile or a carpet, you don't know what's under it.
Mm-mm.
So it needs to be communicated with the customer that here is our base price per square foot, but there can be cost added onto this based off of the amount of cracks and spalls.
Absolutely.
And patchwork. That's something that you'll run into a lot, to where you have to cut out large sections that are severely damaged and re-pour them. But in my opinion, a lot of people really like the look of an old concrete floor that's been rejuvenated and brought back to life with all the cracks and the patchwork and the spalls that have been repaired. It adds a lot to the character of it.
It does, absolutely. And there's been times where you go in and remove tile, and you can't always tell what's down there. And I think, and we'll just kind of give them a little insight to that. If you remember when we went to that, I think it was in Chicago, when we took back all the tile, and we realized that it was like an inch thick of thin, or a self-leveler thin set. And that's the kind of stuff that you have to be aware for, like you said, a change order, because sometimes you can peel that stuff back and you don't ever. It's always a surprise, you know.
Absolutely.
But it's most definitely can be done. You just have to take your time. That's the important thing. You know, detail is everything when it comes to polishing floors. Detail is everything. If you don't have an eye for detail, you know,
it's not the line of work for you.
It's not the line of work for you.
So, Dewayne, we went over the polishing process, the general steps, how long it can last, the maintenance of it, polishing existing floors. Why would you choose a CPS floor grinder or CPS equipment over another manufacturer?
Because CPS is what kept me going in the field a lot of the times. You know, I've used several other manufacturers, especially the propane, but CPS has always been super reliable. Like, I mean, it's not because I work at CPS, it's because I'm a contractor. You know? Yeah,
you're like me. You work at CPS because you use CPS and it worked out for you.
I believe in it. You know, I got out of the industry altogether. I completely quit polishing floors. Went into a whole nother, you know, part of the concrete industry. And whenever, you know, CPS called me, it was hard for me not to come work here, because I believe in their equipment. I believe in their grinders. I believe in this company as a whole. Our service is just impeccable. Like, yeah, I mean, everybody here is literally ready to drop what they're doing at any time to help a customer. And to me, that's very important, because at one time, as a contractor, you know, we were a customer. Mm-hmm. So it's a great piece of equipment. It's a great piece of equipment.
Also add in that they're 100% American made.
Absolutely.
So you don't run into some of the supply chain issues and stuff that's going on in the world today. So
what are some of the tools that you would purchase from CPS?
Good question. So we have several different lines of tooling. Personally, I'm a huge fan of polishing wet. We didn't really discuss that a lot, but you can polish wet or dry. And I'm a huge fan of polishing wet. So for me, it would be basic floor, new concrete. I'm starting with the coppers, with the CPS Copper Series transitionals. They start at a 30 grit, they go all the way to a 400 grit, all wet system. The speed and stuff on them, you know, you're going to be able to polish them wet. You can go a lot faster and stuff, and it's a matter of preference. But really like the new coppers that we have. It's a new line that we've got out. Followed up with the polishing steps, I would run the sectors. And the sectors are a non-resin transfer polishing tool. And the reason I prefer the sectors is because of the speed. They're so fast compared to other tools on the market. So for me, whenever the portion of the industry that I come from, speed was everything, how fast you can get it done. After you get your process down, you have an understanding of the process, you can start working on your speed. That was something that I was taught early in the industry, is the speed will come. You will get a hang of it, and the speed will start picking up. So for me, the Copper Series followed up by the Sector Series polishing tools would absolutely be my go-to. So what do you prefer?
Well, we have a lot of different awesome tools. I would have to say probably our metals, some of our metals, like our Orange Series, our new Gold Series. The orange is a medium bond, the gold is a soft bond, extra soft bond, I actually believe it is. But in my region, where I'm a rep, I see a lot of really hard concrete. So those golds, man, I mean, they do the work. And then for running dry, which I like running wet a little bit better than I do running dry. But for running dry, we have the mock system, which has saved my tail more than I care to admit. They're really good tools, and then I would probably follow up with the sectors also, because they are a very fast polishing tool. But those are probably some of my favorites, I would say.
Thanks for watching today's episode, guys. We hope that you learned something. Hopefully you've gained an interest in polishing concrete, and if you're interested in learning more, feel free to reach out to myself, Dewayne, or anybody here at CPS.
Stay tuned for our next episode, guys.